Great.
Hey, what's up, guys? Alapaki here.
And I'm Sam.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
I got a fresh haircut, so I'm a happy camper right now. I so needed a haircut for this episode, and I reached that goal. So welcome, guys. It's great to be here. Welcome to episode 30. I am Alapaki, co-founder of the Gay Couples Institute.
And I'm Sam Garanzini, the co-founder.
The other half, my other half. Yeah. So awesome. Glad you guys could make it.
So this is going to be a great one. Thank you so much from your feedback from last videos. This is going to be a really good show. As you're coming in, as people start to come in, comment below. We can see it here through our portal here. We're excited to have you. We're excited to serve you now in this way, in this live video kind of way. If you see Alapaki looking down, he's looking at his computer because it takes a couple, can't look at it on this one and all this technology and what have you.
So I'm totally paying attention, guys. I'm not like drifting off somewhere else.
So as people are coming in, hello, good to see you. It's going to start populating there. It's just so great to work with all of you guys. Today we have a really important show. All these shows are from your ideas. And the one that I really I was really looking forward to is today. It's all about how to know whether to give someone a second chance. Mm-hmm. So many of you out there have just felt really betrayed in relationships. And you want to learn more about that. You want to figure out what that's about, how you can move on, and just what's going on with that.
Or not. Some people are burned so much, they just stop dating altogether. And we certainly know people who absolutely do that as well, too. So I think this is an important topic about, do you give someone a second chance? If you don't, are you okay to date again? We're going to cover a bunch of topics that you guys shared with us. So let's see what we got.
Yeah, so how do you know whether to give somebody a second chance? You know, how does that work? There's some challenges that come up. And notice we get all of this stuff directly from you guys. There's some real challenges that come up when it comes to giving someone a second chance. So some of the things that you were telling us is like I think it's Stephen, identifying when someone's apology and plan of action seems really truly sincere, and jump in at anything along the way here. Sure. But I really like this one that Stephen was saying. How do you understand if somebody's sincere? That's what he said he looks for.
Yeah, sure. Do they mean it?
Yeah.
You know. Right.
Michael was saying, forgiving and building up the relationship without it becoming codependent. So this is a big issue, a big challenge with all of this, is how do you do it without things necessarily feeling codependent moving forward?
Yeah, this is a big one too, because the one thing I always hear from guys is, I want to maintain my dignity, my independence. I want to be able to respect myself. So there's something about, if I take them back, does that mean I'm codependent? Does that mean I'm weak? Am I giving in? And is forgiveness the right thing to do? Or am I just stupid, where I just kind of go for it and then get hurt again from that same person?
Yeah, yeah. And codependence, a good one that we'll get into a little bit here, because that word is really used incorrectly. Mm-hmm. There's dependence is a really healthy state. Humans, we're pack animals, so we need to be around others. And we thrive longer when we're in healthy bonds. And that's dependency, and that's healthy. Codependency is totally different, and it is, in fact, not healthy. So like Paul was saying, determining the value of someone in your lives after they've apologized. So giving second chances depends on the circumstance that caused it. Mm-hmm. We all make mistakes, but you need to determine the value that the other person has in your lives.
Sure.
Some other challenges: forgiving but not forgetting. And how do you move forward now that you know the other person better? Havito, I hope I said that right. Said that. And I totally agreed with that. And another challenge, identifying what you're really willing to put up with and what you're not. And Kenny, because you brought this up, this actually became a whole part of this lesson today that we really wanted to do a deep dive on, is identifying what you're really willing to put up with and what you're not.
Yeah, what's your boundaries around that? And I think the theme that I hear a lot is I don't want to get hurt again. So unless we have this magic crystal ball that where we can see, like, if you gave someone a second chance, it's going to end in success, we usually may not necessarily do. We're really hesitant about it. And so there's that analysis process that people go through about, should I or should I not?
Yeah, totally. All right. And so identifying what you're really willing to put up with there. Avoiding the sense of self-betrayal that might come from forgiving without being honest with yourself. This was one of the hugest things that you guys brought up to us in the rest of the thread, is like Savon said, will this lead to a sense of self-betrayal if I were to forgive and I'm really not being honest with myself?
Right. If
If any of this rings true, I really want you to know that you are in the right place. Yeah. Okay. If any of that, if that rings true, definitely put it through on the comments there. Mm-hmm. What we're going to cover today is we're going to talk about what to do when you're getting yellow flags about someone's ability to be honest, how to identify someone who's worth a second chance, ways to protect your own mindset when your trust has been broken. It's huge, and much, much more. So we want to really get started with this, and let's get into this first space of this. Let's talk about what to do about the yellow flags.
Yeah, and I like these too. And by the way, like as licensed marriage and family therapists, using research-based rather than pop psychology, a lot of what we have to share is from that lens, so that you guys don't have to just wander from pop psychology, book to book, friend to friend, therapist to therapist, figuring out how this might work. What we have to share is a collection of what you guys have shared with us and what the research tells us. So I wanted to just kind of put that out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of you have known our work since we started in 2007, but we really want to provide you with the best tools.
Yeah.
So what about these yellow flags when you can just kind of feel it, that this person isn't sincere and isn't honest? And you get really a reaction in yourself when you're feeling that from somebody. There's some common mistakes that people make in this kind of situation. They end up overlooking the small stuff that occurs early on. I'm thinking of some of the clients that we've worked with over the years where they had information all along the way. And you know my phrase, how they are in the beginning is how they are in the middle, and it's how they are in the end.
Yeah.
So that's really key, that you pick up on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and if you don't have trust immediately, that makes it so difficult right off the bat. And I think that foundation of trust is really healthy.
Yeah. Staying fixed on the person or fixed on the idea that the person that person could be if only blank happens. So I was thinking about, in this situation, a family situation that we are going through, where a lot of our family has been saying to us, I think as kind of professionals, hey, do you think this person is ever going to stop doing blank bad thing? And what I was really thinking with this is there's that fixed mindset about, hey, they have a lot of attachment to how this person could be, but they're not really staying in the present to talk about how this person really is. Any thoughts about that? That's kind of
or is it one of those like everything's fine about this person if they could only change this one thing?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, and that one thing could be huge in your eyes, and so I think that's a very difficult place to be, where everything's fine, but that one thing, what does that one thing, what's that weight to you? Because, so for example, say it's sex. Everything's amazing about this guy. He's funny, he's this, and this, but the sex is lousy. Okay, or the sex is not as good as I want it to be. So everything's amazing except for this one thing. Can you live with that one thing?
Yeah, and yes.
And it could be huge, like sex.
Not considering the context of the yellow flags. So that's another huge piece of this, is these flags actually occurring in kind of a context. So, and that can cut, that's a knife that can cut both ways. If any of this rings true to you guys, definitely let us know in the comments, ask questions along the way.
Give us a thumbs up. Heart.
So the context, you could get a yellow flag that someone is a flake or doesn't keep true to their word. And you're actually getting those yellow flags all along, but you were dismissing those flags because you were overlooking the context of, wait a minute, this is a pattern. And I assumed that they would only be like this with their family, but they wouldn't necessarily do this to me on a date, or you know what I'm talking about with that?
Yeah. Or in this case, it's if you overlook it, I don't know. Like in the beginning, do you just give someone more chances?
Yeah.
And so where do you give them more chances? Do you see a pattern? What's your level of tolerance? Just some things to think about in terms of yellow flags.
Yeah. What else here? So the context of the yellow flags, these are not considering those. Both directions can be a huge mistake that people make. So how do I identify someone who's worth a second chance? So I read through all of your responses to this on our page too. And I really think the trick for this, and correct me if I'm wrong or you have something to add here, but I really liked Paul's comment about this, because the trick to giving someone a second chance, and what I would encourage you, if you're thinking about someone in particular who has broken your trust, is determining the value of that person in your life. So what is the value of this person moving forward? Because if you're going to give them a second chance, you might be really ambivalent about the value of that person in your life, and that could be what's causing you a lot of strife.
And what do you mean by value? Like, so what they mean to you, if they add anything to your life, if it's more of a benefit than a cost?
Yeah, it's the whole cost benefit thing. It's what do they take away? What do they bring to it? Are you attached to how they were, or this kind of idea, this fantasy of who they can be? Or is what you're seeing, you're just really not able to take into context of who they really are in the present? Right. And who they really are in the present, is that something that adds value to you and where you're at?
Yeah, right, absolutely. Hey, Derek. Glad you could join us.
Awesome.
What's up?
Awesome.
And I don't know if this is connected to the value piece as well, but the amount of effort something takes. So that depends on the person, where I think relationships take work. They don't come naturally. Like, you communicate well, sex is great, you get along with your parents, money's great. Like, that doesn't come so perfect. You have to fight for it, work on it, and improve over time on that. And so when I hear value, is it I think of, is it worth fighting for? Is it worth the energy and the effort that it's going to take to give that person a second chance?
That I'm really glad you brought that up, because what we know is, like, thinking of Aaron Beck, the major cognitive behavioral therapies that are out there. You learn all this stuff when you go to psychology grad school and all of that. One thing, though, that really runs through all of the relationship therapy methods is that relationships take work. They are a job. And the couples who stay together, it doesn't matter what framework you're approaching it from, the couples who stay together long term accept that work, and they look at their challenges as something that they can grow through together. And they're kind of always sitting on the same side of the fence, if you will. And it's kind of them versus life. I mean, we've definitely had our own, even as we're professionals, but we're a normal couple.
The pressure's off, guys.
Yeah, totally. We don't get this perfect, but I can tell you, 14 years later, it does take work, and but it's worth it. But that's been really consistent. People that think like it's what is it, like a fairy tale, basically, like Sleeping Beauty or that kind of thing. Like, this is
it's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy, or it's supposed to be natural. It all comes packaged well. If it doesn't immediately or in the beginning, it's not worth it. And I think part of this in determining the value is the amount of effort. But to take a step back from that is, this does take work. It will take work. You break up with this person or don't give them a second chance and go out with someone else, that person's also going to take work, and so forth and so forth. And so I look at relationships as a process, not a necessarily outcome, and it's not a one-time event. It really truly is a process that is a marathon, not a sprint.
Absolutely. That's so consistent with what we see. It's like the guy who told John Gottman, the country's leading relationship researcher, who we study with too. We wrote an article with John and his wife about gay couples and their success with changing their behavior patterns, which just really, really quickly improve their relationships. And what were the mechanics of that? We have actually published that a year and a half ago. This guy told John one time, it was in a study of newlyweds, and this guy says, I'll tell you one thing right now, I am never going to do the dishes for my wife. Okay, that's going to be her job. And then in subsequent years in the research, he comes back, and 2 years later, he sat down and he goes, why won't my wife have sex with me?
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, and it's because that's that stagnant, kind of stuck mindset when you don't feel like a relationship is going to be work.
Yeah. So I think the big takeaway, I'm glad we kind of talked this through a little bit. I think the big takeaway is in determining the value that the other person brings with, which I think this is a really, really nicely worded comment, is to look at the effort it takes and to keep in mind that it will take effort.
Yeah.
And is that worth it for you?
Yeah, and I mean, there are times where it won't be. I really feel like the trick, though, one of them is finding ways to protect your own mindset when your trust has been broken.
Yeah, and mindset is huge. And when we say mindset, it's your perspective, how you view things, because ultimately what you think impacts how you feel, which ultimately impacts what you do or don't do, say or don't say. So what you think of the person, what you think of relationships, your value in it, how much effort it takes, how challenging is it going to be, all of that, of what you think, that rumination in your head and the what if scenarios and forecasting and remembering the past and figuring out the future, all of that thought is your mindset. your perspective. And so when we say mindset, that's what we mean. That ultimately is going to impact what you do with this situation or not. You're going to give them a second chance, or you're not going to give them a second chance. It will all start with how you view yourself and him.
Absolutely. So ways to protect yourself when your mind and your own just view of the world, when your trust has been broken. So let's go into that a little bit about how to protect yourself. I think it's important that you consider who is actually in control, you or them. So in this particular situation, are you letting this person, is this person having are you having the entire battle for them in your head? You're just having this one out, and they're dictating the agenda. You know, you're kind of, you know, kicking your own butt along the way there. You're telling yourself, oh, well, they're, it's external locus of control is where I'm trying to go with this.
Sure. Or maybe another way to say it, I think this is what you mean too, is this in your area of control, or is it in your area of concern?
Yeah.
And so what's interesting about that exercise when we ask people that is you might find, I don't know if you will, you might find there are a lot of stuff that is not in your area of control. It's in your area of concern, and it doesn't mean you should ignore it. You know, for example, yellow flags that we just talked about, but it takes the pressure off when you know, like, this is everything I'm worried about. These are some of the yellow flags, but some of those things are out of my control. So I will control what I can and spend my effort, my energy, my headspace, if you will, on the things I can control.
Yeah. And if you wanted to do a deep dive in just that concept of area of concern versus control, it is actually a really nice chunk of our communication style training course, which is available on our website. But that's huge. That idea of is this in I'm concerned about it, but do I really have control over it? And you will find that often the word is no, and then you got to really decide what to do with that.
Absolutely.
So the other piece in how to protect yourself is clearly identifying the affirmative behaviors you want to see from that person moving forward. And are you crystal clear for yourself about what is it you need that person to do, and what are going to be the consequences of them not doing that kind of thing? Now, for those, when you're out of the situation, it's easy to go, well, why don't you just do this? You should just wait for that person. They should just apologize, or they should just do this, or they should break it off with the other person. That's what they should do. But hey, when the reason we're having this conversation is because many of you guys know it's not that easy. Because when you're in it, it's just really hard to get clear on what are the behaviors that you need to see that person to do. Like, what are the positive behaviors that you insist on happening? And often it takes a little bit of help from an unbiased person that's there to only just really affirm your goals on how to improve that.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point around if you're going to start relationship number 2, if you will, with that same person, the second chapter, if you will, some things have to change. Otherwise, you're just going to have the same relationship again with the same issues the second time. So I think that's a really important piece on what you need that person to change. I take out of that too, do you role model the very behavior you want them to exhibit? Which I think is also key in this.
Yeah, and a lot of people will say, yes, of course I do. But you know, it's not quite that linear. It's really, I mean, you're exactly right. It's just hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. And so getting clear on that kind of stuff. Then figuring out how to forgive yourself for any remorse you feel. So this is so key to you protecting yourself and you moving forward. We often have some guilt about how we got into this thing with this person, and that we've given too many second chances. We haven't given a chance, and we feel like we cut it off too early. You need to figure out how to forgive yourself for any remorse you feel that you blame yourself, because often there is a little bit for you to learn about how you got there. Okay, there is a takeaway, but you're not going to get to that takeaway if you don't forgive yourself and just for your part in it. If you even had a part.
Yeah, cut yourself some slack. This is, as I was saying earlier, the relationship is a process, not an event, and it is not the destination. It is truly part of just a larger experience. And so you don't have to come into a relationship having known all of these things and get it perfect, especially the first, second, even third time. But if you learn something from that process, that relationship, and if it doesn't work out and you take what you've learned and improve your next relationship, you've done very, very well. So I would say take that pressure off to be perfect, and forgive yourself. I think through that, I think that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I really feel like understanding where we see the biggest growth that people have is when they understand their part, and where they can start. That ultimately leads to the freedom of getting out there. Because what I really saw a lot on the Facebook page is a lot of people saying that they are never going to give a second chance again. They've had their trust truly broken and they're hurt. And that's why we wanted to have this episode and really speak to you about some things you can do to move forward. And that really goes into grieving the loss of what happened.
Yeah, and that's huge. People that have a strong, positive perspective on relationships take effort. I'm willing to try again. If I learn something from this, then I don't have to kick myself. Forgive myself. That is a really, really big piece, is having to grieve. Whether you have a positive perspective on it or a negative one, you're gonna hurt. Rejection sucks, and you need to grieve for your loss. But the difference is when you have a positive perspective on your experience, if you will, even if it doesn't go well, you don't blame the other person for it, even though they've done something to you. You don't resent them. You forgive yourself, you grieve, and you truly do move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, though, if you're finding yourself frequently worried about whether you can really trust somebody, there's really no one size fits all with this kind of thing. And that's why we wanted to put out there that you should just consider working with us and just schedule some time to give us a call. Or I put a special link because onto this post, because what I'm thinking we're going to do, because this is such an important topic and it's a hot topic for you guys, is I think if we get enough applications, I want to put together a new course or some kind of new, we're going to expand on what we've done today and really talk more about the nuts and the bolts, the sequence. And if any of you have ever done any of these kind of courses with us, they're really fun and cool, but we're going to get deeper into this. And so I just want to get some ideas of the interest that's out there on who's ready to look deeper at what's holding them back, why they can't trust anymore, what that pain is about, what they can't really grieve.
Right. Absolutely.
And maybe they didn't know they're ready to grieve and they are, but I really feel like there's there's more out there, and we want to work with you, but I want to get some ideas of some applications, and I just want to hear just what's your story and how we can best help. Because you shouldn't let others blame you for being paranoid or distrustful. And often your paranoia is there for a very good reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's where I think you can find us. But, like I was trying to say earlier, what we want to help you guys do is take the work out, guesswork out of being in a relationship. And if we can help the two of you, or just yourself, with dating, with a better perspective on relationship, that's what we do 24/7.
Yeah. Don't let others blame you for being mistrustful. Often you're mistrustful for a very good reason.
Sure.
So you'll see in this post, we labeled it bit.ly GCI work with us. That will take you right to our application. And all that's going to happen there is it's going to show you some time on my calendar, and we're going to have a conversation just about where you're at and what led to this point to where you're feeling distrustful and what's been holding you back. Let's schedule time. Let's find some time to just schedule a call. That's usually all that's really needed to help you move forward.
Yeah. It's a free call, and we wanted to put that out there so you knew where to find us.
Yeah. And we're going to go ahead and take some interest with this over the next few days, see how many people raise their hand and say, yeah, this is a topic I want to move forward with. I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of feeling held back. And we'll go from there. I want to get some ideas of what would you like for us to build for you, and then we just go ahead and structure it there. Always the people who help us create this live, it's much more cost effective than if you were to get it later as a standalone course. You really get us working there with you as we all build this.
Yeah, it's fun. We've built many of these courses, and they're really fun because depending on the cohort, you guys give us the content. So we are truly making it very, very relevant for those special few that are in that group.
So there's no reason to hold on to just what's been holding you back and the mistrust that you feel. Just schedule time. Let's get on the calendar and have that conversation. It's bit.ly GCI work with us. And it should be right there in this post.
bit.ly/.
bit.ly/ GCI work with us. So we will see you guys there. Just schedule a call and let's move beyond whatever's been holding you back.
Awesome. Yeah. This is fun, guys. We really love doing this. Mostly, I think, because we just like being able to connect with so many of you guys across the US and the world. We have almost 10,000 fans on Gay Couples Institute page. So we're really excited about that, and just really want to be able to share with some wisdom with you guys, if I can even say that, about relationships, because we've certainly seen our struggle and have worked with thousands of other couples who are also struggling. So.
All right. We will see you right here for the next episode of Hear Me Out. And until then, I can't wait to talk with those of you that are filling out the application, and we'll talk about the next course we're going to put on. It's going to be all about second chances, trust, how to identify your own perspective, what's been hurting you, ways to grieve, ways not to grieve. Can you look for soothing from your ex? Is that even appropriate? Should you let that person back in? This is going to be really for you to work on you. It's not necessarily a couples kind of thing. This is for you to work one-on-one, whether you're single or you're in a relationship. So I will talk with you, those of you that are filling out the application right now. Awesome. And otherwise, we'll see you right here for the next episode of Hear Me Out.
Oh, and we're going to talk about your area of control versus your area of concern. So definitely one piece that is in your area of control is to talk to us. We would love to meet you.
Yeah, totally. All right. We'll see you guys there.
Awesome, guys.
Have a good rest of your night.
All right. Take care.